Okay, welcome to Amy 4.0. I'm trying to get it all on the camera without having to put it in landscape because I've only got one pair of hands.
Hi, I'm Amy. Atomic memory, YEILD at its core. Amy is a tiny, tidy memory engine. Whenever you chat, your words first land in a temporary stash called delta. We call it delta. A little miner then sifts through that delta and pulls out single, bite-sized facts. Each fact is a standalone unit that lives in a suggested pile until you tell it what to do. When you decide a fact is solid, you accept it and shift it into a session. That's just for this conversation, or into global, which lets every chat in the future pull it. If you want to keep an entire paragraph or a chunk of text, you press pack. Packing writes a clean, tagged summary to our long-term store and wipes delta clean, so your notebook never gets cluttered. Everything runs on one solid API. The front end talks to routes like and. There's no confusion or missing endpoints, just a single reliable path. If you ever need to rebuild the suggested list from scratch, hit. We also hand you control. The flag lets you turn the pack selected option on or off. If the API isn't ready, the UI turns that checkbox grey, so you never click a broken button. The packed entries go into. Each line is tagged and comes with metadata, making it easy to find later. There's even a small PowerShell snippet if you want to deduplicate after the fact. That's the pulse of Amy 4.0 turning fleeting chat into durable, searchable knowledge, one atomic fact at a time. This is your first taste of FMAE, you're about to go live, and the opening sequence is ready to shine.
Okay, so that was Amy giving herself an explanation of what she actually is. I'll be a little bit more thorough because I just asked her to give a quick explanation of what's going on. Right, okay, so here we go. The first card is the sessions. So this is an active session and it's planner and system because I've been checking out the planner and system. Underneath we have simulate message hit cadence and we have auto save now. So that's when you want to, if you want to just refresh auto save now. Underneath we have upload drop in. So we'd click that like that to reduce it. Sorry about that. Then we'd grab a file and we'd simply drop it in. Not going to do that just quite yet. Okay, over here we have a placeholder when Amy's talking. The placeholder pulses. In here we have all the different voices, all the different languages. So I'm on Google because I prefer Google. You need to have Google Chrome to use this, but if not, you'd have to use the Microsoft version on Windows 11. So we'll put it back to that. This is just rates of speech if you do any chatting in this one, because I was thinking if I ever put it onto a tablet, phone, etc. That's what this was for, but I left it on just a nice touch, so you've got a bit of control of speech if you really want it, but obviously the box is not very big, so it's just for like quick questions if you wanted to. Not really needed, but just thought I'd leave it on for you. Okay, main chat, here we go. So this works. You have an 11 post window. Now you might be thinking, why only 11? Well, I'll explain it. So with the 11 posts, the last post, the eldest, gets dropped into the expansion window into here. So once you've got 11 posts up, you've got a big window with lots of context you can go into. This gives you easier viewing. So there's also expansions in the other window as well, but in this, so you'd expand it to bring you to this, where you could download the chat or copy it, or just have no wrap, so it's just all up, you know, it's not wrapped. Sorry about that. Close. Okay, the reason I've done this like this is so basically you can have, well, as much chat session space as you require without latency, because what happens is you'll get 300 posts in this section. Once you hit 300, the oldest 100 gets pruned, so it reverts back to 200, and then you can continue. So until it goes 300, then it gets pruned, and so on and so on. Now you might think, well, I'm going to lose all my stuff. Well, you go into view history, which is this segment, and once you hit 100, a JSON file will be produced, and there's your last 100 chat sessions when you've done 100. So you'll click on them and you'll get a JSON readable files. Okay, so you're not losing anything. You're not losing anything anyway. You could go into the actual files because it installs onto your system. You drop it into, it always drops into Amity, which is me, my company. So I'd click that. You go on AmiSoft, and you go into Workspace, Sessions, and there you go. Those are all my chat ID. So you'd click one, and then you've got obviously all the different things. Outputs, there's no outputs on this chat, so analysis, those are things I've been doing, so you don't lose anything. It just keeps it clean and tidy for, well, as long as you want the chats to run for, so you don't have latency issues and problems. Okay, so we'll go up to the memory section now to make things clear. So this is the session. That's the session we're in. I've not put any prompts in at all in this because I've got something global, so I've just started a new one. But you can type in here. I need 2 pairs of hands, so concise. That's what I like. Concise. Oh, this is so difficult. Concise. Happy and fun. Okay, so we'd save that prompt. That's just how our AI will act. And you put anything in there. You put miserable if you want. But to be fair, that's just what that's for. So in here, this is where you save session facts. So I could put I've got to be careful because there's a lot in global. I'll explain that soon. But Matt is showing a demo. Add that to facts. There we go. You've put it in there. Matt is showing a demo. So Amy knows we're showing a demo now. So if I said to her, Amy, we're working on the demo, it doesn't matter how many times, I could say it 100 posts later, she would know I'm still making a demo if I ask the question. So then we're going to Delta, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So here we go. This is a little scratch pad. This is things I've been doing. I've not dismissed or packed or anything yet. So here we go. These are things that you can save, pack and archive. So if we click them, and if we you can either pack and archive the whole system memory, but we want to archive selected. So there you go. So that's gone into the RAG, retrieval augmented generation, I think they call it, but that's what it is. So that goes into that, and then you could just click on some of these like this, and then dismiss selected. I mean, you can clear the delta there, you can refresh the delta. It's up to you. I mean, that's the whole idea. You're in control of the memory system. You decide what goes in, what goes out. So basically, so she doesn't forget. So we're going to suggested. Nothing's been suggested yet. We've not put enough information in, so it's not reached the suggested token limits. So there's nothing in there she could need to find. So global it. Here's all the global facts I've put in, name, dog's name. I just put all this in for testing, just things. So when I ask her questions, across sessions and all the rest of it, say, oh, by the way, what's my dog called, or what's my name, and the basic things. But the idea here is you put lots of different things into it. Maybe you're writing a book, maybe you want to write a video game, maybe whatever you want to do, and then you just make sure she never forgets. We now have no drunken sailor problems and things like that. So that's what the memory system is and what it does. Again, you can pack an archive of the whole lot, which not really recommended. Okay, so we're going to tools. There's a list of tools we can use. There's extract tools, just echo test, and then you can zip things, generate thumbs, analysis. So transcribe audio, create a book, generate image, games maker. That's more manual, but it just shows what things we've got. The VM's not connected because I don't know what sort of VM you've got. If you are technical, you could go into the files and rewire your VM into it. Maybe a bit complicated, so you really need to know what you're doing before you start messing about things like that. So not recommended, but if you know how to do it, then you can do it. That's the whole system's open, so that's what it's about. It's about going back to basics and not hiding behind black boxes and all the rest of it, because I find that really strange. But okay, so here's a few things I've done. Let's go down to the images because they're quite interesting. Okay, so in here you get all the parameter prompts, you get the logs of what was done, how it was done, what happened, etc. Down here we have the actual artifacts, we have the results and the image in a PNG. So if we preview, we get I asked for a diagnostic. That's just come up with that. It was just something I could show basically that it can do it. But yeah, it wasn't what I meant diagnostic of the system. All I put was, could you show me a diagnostic? But hey ho. So here's another image. I don't know what this. I think it's a spaceship I did. Yep, there you go. So that was a spaceship you did for me, which is pretty impressive. So we close that up. Okay, so you've got tools, you've got analysis telling you what the tools do. So let's go into Planner. Right, this gets a little bit interesting. This is for people that are definitely at advanced level of using systems, and you will need some knowledge of coding, etc. But not lots, but I mean it's JSON, so it's pretty plain English. However, you will need to write the script in an editor and then flip it over. So I've placed one in already. Basically, this is something, if you really wanted it to do, you'll get, if you got Amy to say give you an image, you can get all the information you'd need in here. So you'd need obviously prompt, seed, size, schedule, and the model, but you get all that in the analysis window from the various outputs. So anybody knows what they're doing, you put a bit of script in here, you run it. Now you might be thinking, well, what's the point in that? Well, it's for duplication. So these two images here, which I tested to make sure what I'm saying is correct, will go like this. So if we open they're here. I've put them on the desktop to show you. So the two different files, two different creations, same AI. So if you ask your AI to give you two different images the same, you know what happens. There you go. There's the first one I asked for through the planner. Second one, just to make sure, so you don't think I'm going mad. So first, second. Yeah. So two different files, exactly the same image. So that one ends DWBD1, that one ends 816E6B. So just to prove I'm not making any of this up. This is all fact. So to kick Amy up, let's close her down completely. So I'll show you the installer, but what you do, you just load up. When you first load in on the install, you'd come to a window which has to place a key, which I'd generate for you. So you get a memory stick. If you, I don't know if you can see that now, it says OG Amy 4.0. It does. I mean, this is beta, so you know, if you do want a copy, when I do beta test it, I'm only going to put a certain amount out. But basically, all the security stuff are in the system, so keeps it local, keeps it safe. I've kind of made it so you have to keep the key in for copyright purposes and things like that. But so that's pretty cool feature for people that want to have a really good go at it. But it's not necessary to use it, because you could just say Amy, like I always do and I have done. Like I showed you the images earlier, I just said, you type in Amy, draw me a spaceship, and she drew me a spaceship. Amy, draw me a diagnostic. It's just if you wanted to actually get some repeat works and you know how to use it, then using the planner and duplication, that's a pretty good thing. If you like that sort of thing. So okay, if we're going to the games maker. Now this is just something I put in, a bit silly, but I just thought it might be okay. So what you do, let's Starship come out. I put a few of these on, and I can't remember. These are things that I've just put on for a laugh. So run it on a local port server, not port 9000. Play it. That's the bare bones with nothing in. Let's just scroll in. So that's just want to. Hold on. Let's do that again. So if we click that one, play a game. There you go. Not exactly the greatest games of all time, but they're not supposed to be. The point is, all the files open. So if you wanted to edit them, so if you open project folder, just reduce that for 2 seconds, and there you go. There, look in the engine, game engine. You'd have to open it in an editor. I mean, Notepad works, so if you've only got Notepad, but maybe you shouldn't really be messing about. If you have only got Notepad, you probably need your own editor. I mean, I use the free one, which is Visual Studio Code. Great, uses most scripts, so if you know a bit about code, you can go in there, look at the mechanics and how things work, all the rest of it. If you want to look at what sprites have been used or whatever in the game, assets, and then look at different sprites, put your own in, build it out. I've made it. It's basic, so it's just, don't expect AAA games, because I think it took me about 3 hours each game. It wasn't, the point was just so people could get to learn about the mechanics of games and all the rest of it. So let's put this back up. So if you go into the 3D one, that's, the 3D one's pretty impressive. If you, so there you go, and then you use the mouse for the auto camera, and then and the key is WSAD. Just that was the usual. And then if we run into this supposedly demon thing, there you go. It detects you and kills you, but the point was collision and showing you how to use an orbital camera. So again, you can go into the game folder, edit it, look at bits of it, cut bits out, make your own game. Use bits if you want, like how to see how the camera works. This is just something just to make it useful. That's what I thought. It was a good idea. Maybe it's not. Maybe you think, oh, that's rubbish, but fair enough. Space Assassin, which is just a text-based adventure, north, south, east, west. So that's nothing special. But everything has a. I mean, I've not just done it for the fun of it, really. I've done it so you could probably put all of them together and make something. So it's a platform game. Doing. I mean, these are like sort of things you see on the internet. They make out they're really good, and they're not, clearly. Yeah, but I think they took me. That green stuff's supposed to represent lava. But if you went to the very top screen, you'd see a boss go in. You have to jump on his head to lower his health bar. But I've done it all for a reason. As you can see, this one, I've put the Jason on there, so you can go in. You could maybe change things, go into the apply changes. I should have really I was thinking about doing that on all of it, but I just thought we'll do it for this one. But anyway, this one I had a little bit more time, so I just did that. But the rest of it's so easy. You go into the files, look at them, and you can pretty much work it out. Obviously, I expect people that are going to do that are people that know what they're looking at. So yeah. Oh, also before you get obviously speak. So let's say, okay, Amy, that introduction was great. Thanks for that. So speaking to Amy, she'll reply. I'm running this on a Ryzen 7 700X GPU 4060 on 32 gig of RAM, so it's a bit slow.
If there's anything else you need, more scripts, a quick demo walkthrough, or help polishing the video, just let me know.
Have you noticed Amy switched back to Microsoft because that's the default setting when you're doing lots of things? She'll always switch back to that. But basically, just go into the drop down, change her back to English female, and there you go. But if you notice I spoke to her, she spoke back to me. So it's text to speech, speech to text. We've gone through all this. Oh, that's the so sessions, just a quick one. So if you all archived, and then back to active. So hide avatar. You get your session ID, obviously my copyright up there. But the whole point of Amy is it is an atomic memory system. It's not atomicity. It's one atomic unit equals one atomic fact. So yeah, it's a real memory system. It's not pie in the sky. I built this. The back end of this was to run an engine I've been building for a long time, and I need something to handle the AI factory I've built, which houses drone AIs for repairing the engine, because it's a large design and hence it's taking me forever. But the whole idea when I first started this about 5 years ago, not building this, but building what I am building. I'm trying to build a game, but building the engine for the game, I realised I would need an AI that has the ability to handle the information very quick, and if any problems occurred, it would be able to work them out with the drones and give the drones the information for the fix. And then I realised, well, AIs get drift and they lose. I mean, I found this out at the start and I was like, oh no, that's not good, that won't work, that's not going to work, even if I make some tweaks to the weights, do anything. And even that's not easy, because obviously the systems get into the weight. It's just going to cost me a fortune. I mean, my old system, it cost me under $2,000 to knock this together, so it wouldn't handle getting into the actual 20 billion models weights without either going really slow or it just wouldn't work. So what I'm about to do is build my own system. So if anybody thinks this is okay and you think, well, maybe a memory system's a good idea for an AI, well, I've built one. So anybody else saying they've done it, I needed to do this because I've noticed this. I put some things on GitHub with my what I call PhysicsNet engine, and it uses the back end and Amy Lab, and I've noticed this certain things started to go on the internet about hashing and certain things I'm using, which nothing to do with this, but to do with my PhysicsNet engine. But it's sort of some bits that tend to conflict the memory system and the PNE. And I'm like, well, I recognise some of that. So I don't know what's happened there. I don't mind. I mean, I couldn't care less. But I would be a bit miffed if somebody claimed they'd made the atomic memory system that I've made, without giving me any credit and saying, oh, yeah, we took that and we did this and we're going to give him lots of money. But I doubt that happens. So anyway, hopefully Amy will be available soon. So I know I'm not the greatest YouTube video. I think this is about the second, third ever video I've actually made with me actually talking. So you'll have to excuse me for that. But I just thought it was important I made some sort of record of my work, because I was getting a bit fed up with people saying it doesn't work, it can't work, it can't do this, it can't do that. Well, I've just proved it does. So, you know, proof's in the actual reading, isn't it? Okay, please let me know in the comments if you think this will be any good, because like I say, I only need the back end, but I was thinking maybe I should market it. If you think, well, nah, it's probably not worth it, then I probably won't. So let me know. Thanks.